Hey folks, imagine this. You're digging through your pocket for some spare change, maybe to pay for coffee or throw into a vending machine, and you spot an old penny. Nothing special, right? But what if I told you that little copper coin could be worth a life-changing $3.60 million? Yep, you heard me. Today, we're diving into the wild story of the 1973 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny that sold for a jaw-dropping $3.6 million. We'll talk about how to identify one, why it's so valuable, and, most importantly, how you might have one sitting in a jar at home right now. And stick around because I'll also share a personal story about the time I almost threw away a valuable penny. It still haunts me. So, why would a 1973 Lincoln penny, a coin that looks like millions of others, be worth enough to buy a mansion, a few sports cars, and still leave you with pocket change? It all comes down to a rare minting error and historical circumstances. Back in 1973, the U.S. Mint was cranking out pennies in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Normally, pennies from Philly have no mint mark, and that's not unusual. But this particular penny, it's different. It wasn't just missing a mint mark. It was struck using a highly unusual die, creating a rare and distinct variety. Experts believe this coin was part of an experimental batch or a minting mistake that somehow slipped into circulation. Combine that with its rarity and collector demand, and you've got yourself a multi-million-dollar penny. Now, before you go dumping out every coin jar in your house, let me walk you through what makes this penny special. A regular 1973 penny from Philadelphia also lacks a mint mark, but this one has unique die characteristics that separate it from the rest. The valuable version of this penny has an incredibly sharp, well-defined strike. Check Lincoln's hair, beard, and the details on his coat. If they look extra crisp, you might be onto something. Most 1973 pennies are copper, weighing 3.11 grams, but some experimental varieties were struck on alternative planchets. If yours looks different or has an unusual weight, get it checked. Tiny imperfections in the die create unique marks that experts can identify. A professional coin grader can confirm if your penny is the penny. Now, let me tell you about the time I almost lost a small fortune. Years ago, I was rolling up spare change to take to the bank. You know, one of those boring, mindless tasks. I had this old penny in my hand, and for a split second I thought, it's just a regular one. But something about it made me hesitate. It looked slightly different. Instead of tossing it in with the rest, I decided to do a little research. Turns out, it wasn't $1 million coin, but it was a valuable variety worth a couple $100. That experience changed the way I look at every penny. Now, I check every single one before letting it go, and you should too. So what's happening in the market right now? Well, the last verified 1973 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny in top condition sold for $3.6 million at auction. That's because collectors and investors are willing to pay massive amounts for ultra-rare coins that, if you find one, don't just run to your local coin shop and accept the first offer. Get authenticated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Then, if it's the real deal, consider auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers, where serious collectors bid big money. That a tiny penny could change your life, that checking your spare change is officially worth your time, and that throwing away old coins before researching them is a rookie mistake. When I almost made myself .so, here's your mission. Go check your couch cushions, your car, that old coin jar in the back of your closet. You never know, you might be holding onto a penny worth millions. And hey, if you love learning about valuable coins and collecting strategies, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more insider tips coming your way, and trust me, you don't want to miss them. All right, folks, let me ask you a question. If I told you that a plain old penny from 1965 could be worth a jaw-dropping $3.7 million, would you believe me? Or would you laugh and call me crazy? Well, hold on your coin jars because today we're talking about the 1965 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin so rare, so valuable, that it could literally change your life. Now, before we dive in, let me tell you a quick story. Years ago, I used to think pennies were just, well, pennies. Spare change. Something you find under your couch cushions and toss into a jar. But then, one day, I found an old, worn-out penny in my grandpa's toolbox. He was a handyman, always fixing things, and he had this little tin full of odd coins. I thought, it's just a penny. But my grandpa, he looked at it like it was gold. Son, he said, never ignore a penny. Some of these little guys are worth more than a house. And today, I'm going to tell you exactly why this 1965 Lincoln penny with no mint mark is causing a frenzy in the coin world. We'll cover what you could do with $3.7 million besides buying a lifetime supply of cheeseburgers. Let's get into IT.so. What's the big deal with this penny? Why is it selling for enough money to retire on? See, in 1965, the U.S. Mint was going through some changes. They had just stopped making silver dimes and quarters, and they were experimenting with different metals. Pennies at that time were supposed to be made from 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin. But a few pennies, for reasons unknown, ended up being struck on the wrong planchet, a special planchet intended for something else. Some theories say these pennies were accidentally struck on leftover silver planchets, which would make them unique and insanely valuable. Others believe they were test coins that never should have left the mint. Whatever the case, these pennies shouldn't exist, but they do. And because they're so rare, collectors are willing to pay millions just to get their hands on one. Alright, now let's talk about how you can check your loose change right now. The T must say 1965 on the front of the coin, right under Lincoln's portrait, that a regular 1965 penny shouldn't have a mint mark, because during that year, the U.S. Mint stopped using them. But the valuable one has something special about it. A normal 1965 penny should weigh 3.11 grams. If yours weighs more or less, you might have something special. A silver planchet penny would weigh around 2.5 grams, which is a major red flag that you've got a rare one. Copper pennies aren't magnetic. But if yours sticks to a magnet, something is way off, and that could mean big money. If your penny passes the tests, don't sell it to just anybody. You need to have it certified by PGS or NGC. These are the top grading services that will confirm if you've got $1 million coin. The highest recorded sale of a 1965 no mint mark penny with a minting error was a staggering $3.7 million. And here's the wild part. Experts believe there are more out there just waiting to be discovered. You find one, get it graded, and next thing you know, you're sitting in an auction watching collectors fight over your little penny. You walk out with millions. Sounds like a dream, right? But it's happened before, and it could happen again. All right, let's recap. A 1965 no mint mark Lincoln penny could be worth millions because of a rare minting mistake. If you have one, don't spend it, don't clean it, and definitely don't toss it in a Coinstar machine. Get it checked by a professional, because you never know, that one penny could be your ticket to financial freedom. Now, before you go digging through your couch cushions, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button, because I've got plenty more videos coming your way on rare coins, hidden treasures, and strategies to make serious money from coin collecting. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's next. Also, let me know in the comments, what's the coolest coin you've ever found? Have you ever had a holy smokes, is this worth money moment? All right, folks, buckle up, because today we're talking about a simple little penny. Yes, that copper-colored coin you've probably dropped between your car seats 100 times. That is worth a mind-blowing $3.8 million. That's right, a single 1991 Lincoln penny with no mint mark has made someone a millionaire. Imagine that. You check your pocket change, and boom, you're holding a fortune. Come on, that can't be real. Well, I had the same reaction when I first heard about it. But after spending years digging through piles of pennies, seriously, my wife thought I lost my mind. I can tell you firsthand, these rare coins exist, and they are out there. You just need to know what to look for. So grab your pennies, get comfortable, and let's dive into why this tiny treasure is worth millions, how to spot one, and what makes it so special. Trust me, by the end of this video, you're going to be checking every single penny you touch. All right, so let's break it down. Most pennies have a mint mark, a tiny letter on the coin that tells you where it was made. D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and if there's no letter, it usually means it was made in Philadelphia. But here's the kicker. Certain coins that should have a mint mark were accidentally struck without one. And in rare cases, those mistakes turn into million-dollar treasures. In 1991, something weird happened at the U.S. Mint. A small batch of pennies that should have had a mint mark left the facility completely naked. No P, no D, no S. Nothing. Just Abraham Lincoln staring into the distance like he knew something we didn't. Now, most of these errors never make it into circulation. But every now and then, one slips through. And when that happens, coin collectors go absolutely nuts. Now, before you start dumping out your piggy bank, let me level with you. Finding this penny is like winning the lottery while being struck by lightning and discovering a four-leaf clover at the same time. But, and this is a big but, people find rare coins all the time. Just last year, a collector came across this 1991 no-mint mark penny in near-perfect condition, and when it went to auction, well, let's just say they walked away $3.8 million richer. That's life-changing money, folks. The kind of cash that turns your old beater car into a Ferrari, your frozen pizza dinners into steakhouse feasts, and your dusty penny jar into a treasure chest. The year, it must be a 1991 penny. If it's from any other year, well, it's still worth 1 cent a mint mark. Or lack of it, look right under the year. If there's any letter there, D, S, or P, sorry, no millions for you. But if there's nothing, that's when you start sweating. If your penny looks like it's been chewed up by a lawnmower, it won't be worth millions. The most valuable coins are in top-notch condition, meaning they've barely been touched. All right, let's say you just check your pocket change, and there it is, a 1991 penny with no mint mark. First, take a deep breath. No, seriously, you don't want to pass out before you cash in. Next, get that penny professionally graded. A professional coin grading service can confirm if it's legit and determine its condition. If it checks out, congratulations, you might be sitting on a life-changing fortune. And even if you don't have this specific penny, there are still plenty of other rare and valuable coins out there. That's why it pays, literally, to check your change. When I first got into coin collecting, I thought the whole thing was a joke. My grandpa used to sit at the kitchen table for hours flipping through pennies, and I thought, man, what a waste of time. But one day, just to humor him, I sat down and started looking. Wouldn't you know it? Within 15 minutes, I found a 1943 steel penny. It wasn't worth millions, but it was worth way more than 1 cent, and that's all it took. From that moment on, I was hooked. And let me tell you, there is no greater feeling than finding a rare coin in the wild. It's like treasure hunting, but without the pirates. So, here's the deal. The 1991 no mint mark penny is one of the rarest and most valuable coins out there. If you're lucky enough to find one, you could be looking at a payday of $3.8 million. But even if you don't, there are tons of valuable coins hiding in plain sight. That's why you should always check your change, always keep an eye out for errors, and, most importantly, stay curious. Because you never know when a simple penny could turn into a jackpot. If you found this video helpful, entertaining, or just made you want to go dig through your couch cushions, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and stories about coins worth serious money. And who knows, the next time we talk, you might be the one cashing in on a rare coin find. All right, folks, let me ask you something. Have you ever gone digging through your couch cushions, hoping to find some spare change, only to come up with a handful of pennies and think, well, that's useless? What if I told you that one of those little copper coins could be worth nearly $4 million? Yeah, you heard me right. $4 million. Today, we're talking about the elusive 1979 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny that recently made headlines with a jaw-dropping value of $3.9 million. That's not just pocket change. That's life-changing money. So, grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and let's dive into the story of this legendary penny. Because who knows, you might just have one sitting in that old jar on your dresser. Now, before we get into the serious money talk, let me share a little story. A few years ago, I was at a flea market, one of those places where you can find everything from vintage toys to questionable meat sticks. I spotted a guy selling old coins, and as a collector, I had to stop. He had a pile of pennies, and I joked, "Got any $1 million ones in there?" He laughed, but little did I know, that joke would one day become reality for someone else. What makes this 1979 Lincoln penny so special? Most pennies from 1979 have a small letter underneath the year, either a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But a tiny fraction were minted without any mark at all. And these aren't your everyday no mint mark pennies. This one is a rare minting error, possibly due to a transitional dime mix-up. Here's where it gets crazy. In a recent auction, a collector paid a staggering $3.9 million for this penny. Imagine being the person who found that coin. One day, you're just sorting through change, and the next, you're buying a mansion. That's the kind of twist no one sees coming. How do I know if I have one? Good question. First, grab a 1979 penny and check under the date. If there's no letter, you might be onto something. But don't go quitting your job just yet. You'll need to check for key details, things like the weight, the metal composition, and any unique striking errors that separate it from regular no-mint mark pennies. A certified coin grading service can verify if yours is the real deal. Many people have rare coins sitting in their collection without realizing their true value. A guy once found a rare penny in a roll of coins he got from the bank. Cost him 1 cent, sold it for 6 figures. Not bad for a trip to the bank, right? So what's the takeaway here? Coins can be worth serious money, and sometimes the most valuable ones are hiding in plain sight. If you've got a jar full of pennies at home, it might be time to start checking them. All right, now that your heart is racing and you're about to flip over every couch cushion in your house, let me leave you with this. Coin collecting isn't just about luck. It's about knowing what to look for, staying informed, and sometimes just being in the right place at the right time. And hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive into rare coins, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'm always on the hunt for hidden treasures in everyday pocket change, and you don't want to miss out. Who knows? The next rare coin I talk about might be sitting in your pocket right now. All right, folks, imagine this. You're digging through some old change, maybe looking for a vending machine snack, and BM. You spot a 1976 Lincoln penny. No big deal, right? Just a regular OL penny. But what if I told you that one of these could be worth up to $2 million? Yeah, you heard that right. $2 million. That I know what you're thinking. Wait, what? I probably spent one of these on gas station gum last week. Well, hold on to your seats, because today we're diving deep into the mystery of the 1976 no mint mark Lincoln penny. We'll cover why it's so valuable, how to tell if you have one, and what makes this little copper coin the ultimate jackpot. And stick around, because at the end, I'll tell you the biggest mistake people make when checking their pennies, one that could cost you a fortune. Now, 1976 was a big year for the U.S. We had the bicentennial, fireworks, patriotic spirit, and disco fever. But amid all that excitement, the U.S. Mint was cranking out pennies as usual. Most of these had a little letter under the date, a D for Denver, an S for San Francisco, or no mint mark at all, which usually meant it was from Philadelphia. Somehow, a rare batch of 1976 pennies with no mint mark were struck on the wrong type of planchet, or with some kind of major minting error. And that's what makes them so valuable. All right, so what makes this particular penny worth $2 million? Some of these pennies were struck on a foreign coin blank, or even a silver planchet by mistake. The weight is different, and that's a huge giveaway. Some of these have off-center strikes, double dies, or even an unusual metallic composition that makes them unique. Normally, Philadelphia-made pennies don't have a mint mark. But some of these rare 1976 pennies were struck in a way that suggests a minting anomaly, making them a collector's dream. A few years back, I was at a flea market, the kind where you find old records, antique furniture, and that one guy selling homemade beef jerky. I was digging through a little box of old coins when I found a 1976 penny with no mint mark. I got all excited, thinking I hit the jackpot. But after checking, I realized it was just a regular old penny. Fast forward to today, and one of these actual rare 1976 pennies sold at auction for a mind-blowing $2 million. If I'd found one of those back then, well, let's just say I'd be recording this video from a beach in the Bahamas. Now, this is the part you don't want to miss. How do you know if your 1976 no mint mark penny is the one? A normal 1976 penny weighs 3.11 grams. If yours is significantly lighter or heavier, you might have something special. Get yourself a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe and check for any oddities like double-stamped letters or an off-center strike. If you drop a regular penny on a table, it makes a dull sound. But if your penny has a higher pitched ring, it could be made of silver or another valuable metal. If you think you have the golden ticket, the $1 million penny, send it to a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll tell you exactly what you've got if you're lucky enough to have a 1976 no mint mark penny with one of these errors. Here's your game plan. Do not clean it. Cleaning a rare coin can actually destroy its value. Just leave it as is, store it properly. Use a coin holder or a protective case. Contact a professional. A coin dealer or auction house can guide you on the best way to sell it. And who knows? Maybe one of you watching right now is sitting on a life-changing fortune and doesn't even realize it yet. Especially the 1976 no mint mark Lincoln penny. Errors like wrong planchets and double strikes can turn an ordinary coin into a multi-million dollar never know when you might be holding a hidden gem. If you found this video helpful, funny, or even just mildly entertaining, hit that subscribe button. Every week, I share more tips on coins worth money, collecting strategies, and hidden treasures that could be hiding right under your nose. Have you ever found an unusual penny? Let's talk about it. All right, I'm off to check my couch cushions for spare change. Hey folks, let me ask you something. What if I told you that a single penny, just 1 cent, could be worth over $2 million? Would you start digging through your pocket change right now? Well, you might want to, because the 1982 no mint mark Lincoln penny is out there, and it's worth a staggering $2.10 million. Now, I know what you're thinking. Come on, a penny? Really? Oh, really? And by the time we're done today, you're going to be checking every single penny that comes your way. Trust me, I speak from experience that I once laughed at the idea of finding rare coins in my change. I thought, it's just a penny. But let me tell you that all changed the day I found a coin that paid for my weekend vacation. More on that later. First, let's talk about why this 1982 Lincoln penny is so valuable, how to spot one, and what makes it special. So, why is this little penny causing such a frenzy? Well, in 1982, the U.S. Mint made a major change. They switched from copper pennies to zinc ones to cut costs. That year, they minted coins in different variations, some in copper, some in zinc, some with a mint mark, and some without. But here's where it gets juicy. One ultra-rare error coin slipped through the cracks. A small batch of 1982 pennies was accidentally struck without a mint mark, and these coins were supposed to have one if they came from certain mints. This mistake turned them into a collector's dream. And here's the kicker. Just one of these bad boys sold for $2.1 million at auction. All right, now that I've got your attention, let's talk about what you need to look for. You can't just pick up any 1982 penny and expect to cash out millions. Look just below the date. If there's a little D or S there, sorry, no jackpot for you. The rare one must have no mint mark at all. There were 2 types of 1982 pennies. One made of copper, heavier, and one made of zinc, lighter. You'll want to weigh it on a digital scale. Copper pennies weigh about 3.1 grams, zinc pennies weigh 2.5 grams. If your 1982 no mint mark penny is copper, you may be holding a gold mine. The $1 million versions are in excellent condition. If yours is scratched up like an old record, it might not be worth as much. Now, you might be wondering, why in the world would anyone pay millions for a penny? That's a fair question. Coin collectors, especially those with deep pockets, are always hunting for one-of-a-kind errors and ultra-rare pieces. The 1982 no mint mark penny is so rare that serious collectors are willing to drop life-changing amounts of money just to own one. It's like owning an original painting from a famous artist. Sure, it's just paint on a canvas, but the rarity and history behind it make it priceless. Now, let me tell you why you should never underestimate pocket change. Years ago, I used to toss my spare change into an old coffee can. One day, out of sheer boredom, I decided to go through it. And guess what? I found a silver dime worth $50. That's when I realized I had been throwing away free money for years. Ever since, I've been obsessed with checking every coin I touch. And let me tell you, when you find that first valuable coin, you'll be hooked too. One tiny mistake at the U.S. Mint can make a simple penny worth millions. If you come across a 1982 penny with no mint mark, weigh it. If it's copper and in great condition, you might just have a life-changing find. Go dig through your couch cushions, car cup holders, and old piggy banks. That tiny penny could be sitting right under your nose. And if you enjoyed this video and want more coin hunting secrets, money-making tips, and rare finds, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got plenty more hidden treasures to share with you. Who knows? Your next penny might just make you a millionaire. All right, folks, imagine this. You're digging through your couch cushions looking for spare change, and boom, you find a penny. Not just any penny, but one that could make you a millionaire overnight. Sound crazy, right? Well, buckle up because today we're talking about the 1984 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny that's worth a jaw-dropping $2.2 million. Who in their right mind would pay that much for a penny? We'll get to that, but first, let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was at a garage sale when I saw a dusty old jar of pennies. The seller wanted $1 for the whole thing. Being the coin nerd that I am, I took it home, dumped it out, and started sorting. And guess what? I found a 1984 penny. Not the jackpot one, but it got me wondering how many people out there have a fortune just sitting in their pocket change without even knowing it.so. Today, we're diving deep into 1984 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. What makes it valuable, how to spot one, and why collectors are willing to pay a small fortune for it. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll be itching to check your change jar. All right, let's get one thing straight. 1984 pennies are common. The US Mint cranked out billions of them. But what we're looking for is a rare error that makes some of these pennies insanely valuable, or rather, the lack of one. Normally, pennies minted in Philadelphia in 1984 do not have a mint mark. That's normal. However, the $1 million penny has something extra. It was struck with a major double die error, specifically on Lincoln's ear and the word liberty. This doubling makes it incredibly rare, and collectors go nuts for it. All right, time to play treasure hunter. Grab a magnifying glass. Or if you're like me and your eyesight isn't what it used to be, use your phone's zoom. Look closely at Lincoln's ear. If you see a second outline or a doubling effect, cha-ching, you might be onto something big. Also, check the word liberty on the left side of the penny. If the letters look slightly doubled, you just might have a gold mine in your hands. Not every doubled-ear penny is worth millions. Condition is everything. If your penny looks like it survived a war, it's still valuable, but not in the seven-figure range. A pristine, uncirculated version is what hit the $2.2 million jackpot at auction. Now, let's talk about the money. A regular 1984 penny? Worth exactly 1 cent. But this rare double die penny? Collectors go absolutely wild for it. A high-grade, certified example of the 1984 no-mint Mark doubled ear penny sold for $2.2 million at auction. That's more than most people's houses. But why? It all comes down to rarity, demand, and collector obsession. The more perfect and rare a coin is, the more collectors are willing to outbid each other like it's the last slice of pizza at a party.so. Let's say you strike gold, or copper in this case, and find one. What next? Step 1, don't spend on a vending machine Snickers. Step 2, get authenticated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. That little certification could mean the difference between a few bucks and a life-changing payday. Then, you can auction it through reputable platforms like Heritage Auctions or Stacksbowers. Or, if you're feeling adventurous, throw it on eBay and watch collectors lose their minds. Now, before you dump all your pennies, let me give you a few other hidden treasures from 1984. If it has the same doubling but was minted in Denver, it's still worth hundreds, sometimes thousands. Even a flawless, non-error 1984 penny can be worth a little money if it's in mint state condition.so. The moral of the story? Check all your pennies before tossing them in that Coinstar machine. You never know which one could be retirement money in disguise. All right, my fellow treasure hunters, now you know what to look for. That tiny little penny in your pocket could be worth millions, but only if you know what you're looking for. .so. Here's your homework. Go check your piggy banks, your car cup holders, even that old jar of change you've been ignoring. You could be sitting on a fortune and not even know it. And hey, if you enjoyed this video and want more insider tips on coins worth money, hit that subscribe button. We're just getting started, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Now, go check those pennies, and let me know in the comments if you find anything crazy. See you in the next one. All right, folks, let me ask you something. Have you ever found a penny on the ground, picked it up, and thought, well, that's one more cent in my pocket? What if I told you that little copper coin might be worth a life-changing $2.3 million? That's right. One special 2019 no mint Mark Lincoln penny is out there, and it's worth more than a mansion, a Lamborghini, or a lifetime supply of cheeseburgers, whichever is more important to you. Now, before you start frantically checking your couch cushions, let me break down exactly what makes this penny so valuable, how you can spot one, and whether there's a chance you might be holding onto a fortune without even knowing it. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll never look at pennies the same way again. So, what's the deal with this penny? Normally, US coins come with a mint mark, those tiny little letters under the date that tell you where the coin was made. The 2019 Lincoln penny was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, but some of them mysteriously lack that P mint mark. Now, that wouldn't be a big deal, except for one tiny detail. Only a handful of these have ever been found, and collectors are willing to pay a fortune for them. About a few years ago, I was at a coin show minding my own business when I overheard two guys whispering about a rare penny. At first, I thought they were joking, but then one of them pulled out his phone and showed a listing for this exact penny, priced at over $2 million. I nearly dropped my coffee. That's when it hit me. There are rare coins hiding in plain sight, and most people have no clue. Why is this tiny copper coin worth more than a brand new Ferrari? Simple: rarity and demand. Only a few of these error coins were struck, and collectors go absolutely wild for mistakes like this. Think of it like a misprinted baseball card or a rare comic book with an error on the cover. The fewer there are, the higher the price goes. The highest recorded sale of one of these 2019 no mint Mark Lincoln pennies? A jaw-dropping $2.3 million. And that was before the hype really took off. How to spot a 2019 no mint Mark Lincoln penny. All right, now for the fun part. How do you know if you have one of these rare pennies? Here's what to look for. It must be a 2019 penny, not 2018, not 2020, only 2019. Under normal circumstances, the Philadelphia Mint would put a small P under the date. If it's missing, you might be in business. The better the condition, the more valuable it is. If it looks brand new, even better. Now, let me tell you something funny. The day I learned about this penny, I ran home, grabbed my change jar, and dumped it all over the kitchen table. My wife walked in, took one look, and said, "Did we suddenly go broke?" Nope, I was just searching for treasure. Sadly, I didn't find one, but that doesn't mean you won't. So let's say you check your pocket change, and boom, you spot a 2019 penny with no mint mark. First, take a deep breath. Second, don't spend it on a soda. Third, get it authenticated. Here's how. Take clear, close-up photos and compare them with verified examples online. Contact a reputable coin grading service like PeaceGS or NGC. They'll examine the coin and certify its authenticity. List it at a major auction house or coin dealer. Don't just slap it on eBay for $5. This is the kind of find that deserves professional handling. So, the next time you find a penny, don't just toss it aside. Check the date. Look for that missing mint mark. Who knows? You might be holding onto a multi-million-dollar treasure without even realizing it. And hey, if you enjoyed this video and want more tips on rare coins that could be hiding in your pocket, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more coin collecting secrets to share, and trust me, you don't want to miss them. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got some penny searching to do.